About alleged corruption inside a government department, claims of wads of cash, wallets of cryptocurrency and even hitmen.
On July 9th, 2025, a government official put his rubbish bins out for collection and then vanished without a trace. Now, I know what you're thinking. Maybe he just forgot to bring them back in, right? Wrong. Ibrahim Helmi isn't just any missing person. He's accused of masterminding the most sophisticated corruption scheme in Australian history. We're talking about $11.5 million stolen through cryptocurrency, gold bars, and a web of rigged contracts worth $343 million.
Helmi disappeared days before he was due to talk to corruption investigators.
And when it became such, the volume of work became such that it was too difficult to pay Mr. Helmi in cash, was there another method by which you made payments or provided benefits to Mr. Helmi?
Yeah, crypto.
And get this, Australia's anti-corruption watchdog is more corrupt than the criminals they're meant to catch. You couldn't make this stuff up if you tried.
So the federal watchdog made no judgment on these officials. It could have investigated whether their conduct amounted to corruption, but for the reasons just given, it chose not to. And this was all contained in a 500-word statement released this...
Fellas, what I'm about to expose will make you want to throw your phone at the wall. This isn't just about one corrupt official with sticky fingers. This is about a total breakdown of every safeguard that's supposed to protect your hard-earned tax dollars. We've got government contracts being auctioned off like items at a garage sale, officials collecting bribes in cryptocurrency and gold like they're bloody pirates, and a corruption watchdog that's about as useful as a chocolate teapot.
This watchdog is new. It's been in operation just shy of a year. It was a key integrity promise from Labor and delivered when it got to office by the Albanese government. But a lot of the corruption watchdog's work, almost all of it, is secretive, and there have only been a couple of cases that we've heard about.
The Vanishing Act. Picture this. It's Sunday night, July 9th, 2025. Ibrahim Helmi, a 38-year-old Transport for NSW official, puts his bins out for Monday morning collection. Seems normal enough, right? By Tuesday, when investigators rock up looking for him, he's gone. Vanished. Disappeared into thin air like a magician's assistant. When the Independent Commission Against Corruption issued a summons for Helmi to appear at their inquiry, they found an empty house and those rubbish bins still sitting on the curb like a monument to government incompetence. The bloke accused of stealing $11.5 million from Australian taxpayers had simply done a runner. Now, this isn't some Jason Bourne character with fake passports and safe houses. This is a mid-level government employee who put his bins out on Sunday night and then vanished before Tuesday morning. If that doesn't tell you everything about our law enforcement, I don't know what will. What investigators found when they started digging into his activities was like opening Pandora's box. The crypto gold mine. Right, so the Crime Commission starts poking around Helmi's affairs, and what do they find? $8 million in cryptocurrency from properties connected to his operation, plus another $413,000 in his personal crypto accounts. This bloke was running a digital money laundering operation that would make a tech startup jealous. But wait, it gets better. Investigators found evidence of payments in gold bullion. I'm not talking about your nan's wedding ring here. We're talking about actual gold bars being handed over as bribes for government contracts. One contractor allegedly paid Helmi in gold because apparently regular corruption wasn't fancy enough for this operation. It's like something out of a pirate movie, except instead of X marks the spot, it's cryptocurrency marks the corruption. We're not dealing with brown paper bags full of cash anymore. We're dealing with tech-savvy criminals who figured out how to rob taxpayers in the digital age. And the cryptocurrency theft? That was just the warm-up act. The contract rigging empire. So Helmi's got his crypto empire running, but why stop there? This absolute legend decided to turn the entire Transport New South Wales contracting system into his personal money printing machine. We're talking about $343 million in contracts that were rigged from day one. Here's how this beautiful scam worked. Contractors would rock up to bid for government roadworks projects. You know, the roads you drive on every day to get to work. Instead of awarding contracts based on who could do the best job for the best price, Helmy would allegedly rig the whole thing in favour of companies that slipped him a little something extra. These contractors would submit bids so inflated they'd make a balloon jealous, knowing they'd win regardless of price. Then they'd pay Helmy his cut in cryptocurrency, gold, or good old-fashioned cash. It was like a corrupt version of The Price is Right, except everyone was a winner except the taxpayers. And get this, according to ICAC testimony, some contractors were literally paying Helmy in gold bars. Can you imagine that conversation? Hey Ibrahim, we'd like to win that $50 million roadworks contract. How about we pay you in gold bars? It's like they thought they were trading with pirates in the Caribbean, not running a modern Australian government agency. The best part? Transport New South Wales knew about this corruption months before Helmy did his disappearing act. The systematic failure. So here's where it gets really good. Ibrahim Helmy was terminated by Transport NSW in February 2025. Let that sink in for a moment. The agency knew he was corrupt 5 months before he disappeared. They knew he was under investigation. They knew he posed a flight risk. And yet, when ICAC needed to question him about hundreds of millions in rigged contracts, this bloke was able to simply vanish like a fart in the wind. How does someone accused of stealing $11.5 million just walk away from their house and disappear? It's like our government agencies are playing a game of hide and seek, except they're really bad at the seeking part. They can fire corrupt officials, but asking them to actually face justice? That's apparently too much to ask. And if you think that's bad, wait until you hear about the body that's supposed to prevent this corruption. They make Helmy look like a choir boy. The NACC fraud. Right, so we've got this thing called the National Anti-Corruption Commission. Sounds impressive, doesn't it? Like they're the superheroes of government accountability. Well, turns out they're more corrupt than the criminals they're supposed to catch. It's like hiring a fox to guard the henhouse, except the fox has a gambling problem and owes money to the chickens. In June 2025, the NACC found that a senior Home Affairs official had forged documents to get her future brother-in-law a job in the department. This woman, who they've given the pseudonym Joanne Simerson, because apparently we can't handle knowing who corrupt officials actually are, literally created fake paperwork to manipulate the hiring process. Now, you'd think finding someone red-handed with forged documents would be pretty straightforward, right? Wrong. The NACC's own handling of this case was so incompetent that their inspector had to step in and basically say, "You're doing this all wrong." The corruption watchdog couldn't even investigate corruption properly when it was handed to them on a silver platter with a bow on top. Instead of making this a public example of what happens to corrupt officials, they buried her name behind a pseudonym and issued a report that's more redacted than a CIA document about aliens. But their failures with Robo-debt make this look like amateur hour. The Robo-debt betrayal. Remember Robo-debt? That delightful little scheme that destroyed thousands of Australian lives by chasing people for debts they didn't owe? The Royal Commission identified 6 public officials who should be investigated for their role in that disaster. So how many has the NACC actually investigated? Take a guess. Go on, I'll wait. If you guessed 0, congratulations. You win absolutely nothing, just like the victims of Robo-debt. These legends have spent 2 years sitting on their hands while the people responsible for Robo-debt walk free, probably laughing all the way to their comfortable retirement packages. The Robo-debt scheme illegally pursued vulnerable Australians for debts they didn't owe. It drove people to suicide. It destroyed families. It was called crude and cruel by the Royal Commission. The Royal Commissioner went to significant lengths to refer these 6 officials to the NACC. He provided detailed evidence of their misconduct. He basically did everything except wrap it up with a bow and deliver it personally. What did the NACC do? They initially decided not to investigate at all. Brilliant. It took public outrage and intervention by their own inspector to force them to reconsider. Even now, 2 years later, there have been no prosecutions, no public findings, no accountability whatsoever. And their secrecy makes this betrayal even more insulting. The secrecy scandal. The NACC operates with more secrecy than a teenage diary. Even when they find corruption, they won't tell us who the corrupt officials are. They investigate in secret, make findings in secret, and then issue reports with more black bars than a zebra crossing. Helen Haynes, the independent MP who helped create the NACC, has been begging them to provide updates on their Robo debt investigation. Their response? Complete silence. It's like asking your teenager what they did at school and getting nothing as an answer, except with more taxpayer money involved. The architect of Australia's Anti-Corruption Commission is being stonewalled by the very body she helped create. It's like Dr. Frankenstein being ignored by his monster, except the monster's supposed to be fighting corruption, not protecting it. The NACC is protecting the corrupt instead of exposing them, using procedural fairness as an excuse to hide their failures from public scrutiny. And when things got so bad that even they couldn't ignore it, their own inspector had to investigate them for corruption. The inspector's intervention. So the NACC's failures became so bloody obvious that their own inspector had to step in and investigate them. Gail Furness, the inspector of the NACC, is literally investigating the corruption watchdog for failing to investigate corruption. Let me paint you a picture of how ridiculous this is. We have an inspector investigating the investigators who are supposed to investigate corruption. It's like a Russian nesting doll of bureaucratic failure, except each doll is more incompetent than the last. The inspector's investigation found that the Commission had failed to comply with its own legislation. They couldn't even follow their own rules when deciding whether to investigate obvious corruption. It's like a referee who doesn't know the rules of the game they're supposed to be officiating. This whole circus has created a culture where being corrupt is basically a career choice with excellent job security. The culture of impunity. So let's tally up the score, shall we? Helmy allegedly stole $11.5 million and rigged contracts worth hundreds of millions more. His punishment? He got fired and then did a runner when investigators wanted to chat? No jail time, no asset forfeiture, no public accountability. He's probably sipping cocktails on a beach somewhere, laughing at how easy it was. The Robo-debt officials destroyed thousands of lives with an illegal debt recovery scheme that would make a loan shark blush. Their punishment? 2 years of secret NACC investigations that have produced more nothing than a broken vending machine. Joanne Simerson forged documents to get a family member a cushy government job. Her punishment? A secret NACC report with her name blacked out like she's in witness protection. This pattern sends a crystal clear message to every government employee in Australia. Corruption pays better than honest work, and accountability is about as real as a unicorn. And guess who's footing the bill for this whole circus? That's right, you and me. The taxpayer betrayal. Every single dollar that Ibrahim Helmy allegedly stole was money that should have gone to building better roads, safer bridges and transport infrastructure that doesn't make you want to cry every time you hit a pothole. The $343 million in rigged contracts represents hundreds of projects that were overpriced, delayed or cancelled because corrupt officials were treating the public purse like their personal piggy bank. But here's the real kicker. You're not just paying for corrupt officials to steal your money. You're also paying for a corruption watchdog that protects those officials from consequences. The NACC's budget comes from taxpayers, and they're using that money to shield corrupt officials from accountability like they're running a witness protection program for criminals. So let me get this straight. First, corrupt officials steal your money. Then the body that's supposed to catch those officials uses more of your money to protect them from consequences. It's like paying someone to rob you and then paying their lawyer to get them off. And this corruption crisis is creating even more criminals. This leaves us with a question. If we can't trust our government to spend our money honestly, if we can't trust our corruption watchdog to catch criminals, if we can't trust our law enforcement to ensure justice, then what can we trust? To see the latest Australian crisis, click this video here.